Day चाहिँ Emily Dickinsonले लेखेको पोइम हो अनि in this poem she describes metaphysical in nature through the brilliant imageries and symbols describes a beautiful day that leads children from innocence to experience अनि यहाँ चाहिँ डे भनेको लाइफ हो अनि सनराइज भनेको चाहिँ बर्थ हो है अनि मैले पहिले भनिसकेँ यसमा मेटाफिजिकल युज हुन्छ त्यो भनेको ट्राइङ टु कनेक्ट ह्युमन नेचर विथ सुपर नेचुरल पावर बिहुन फिजिकल अनि सनसेट भनेको चाहिँ डेट हो यसलाई चाहिँ क्वेसनमा सोध्न सक्छ यसमा के रिप्रेजेन्ट गरेछ भनेर अब सम्झिनु पऱ्यो सनराइज भनेको बर्थ डे भनेको लाइफ र सनसेट भनेको डेट ब्रिफ समरी पढौँ होइन हामी इन द पोइम अ डे Dickinson, through her brilliant imaginary and symbol, describes a beautiful day that leads children from innocence to experience. This describes the rising of sun, what happens after it rises, and what happens after the sun sets. A thin ribbon of light descends from above the steeple, altering its hue from blue to purple upon the hearing of sun rising. News spread or light travels like squirrels running to get away. Sunlight reveals the back hill, and Bonik, a tiny American bird, sings a lovely morning. When the sun shines, it makes everything and everyone happy and comfortable. In order to ensure that sun will rise with lovely and wonderful rays, the speaker speaks to himself. Sunrise is confirmed by magnificent scenery, Mr. Hill singing upon it. And the speaker of the poem is a child. Right? The speaker lacks confidence in description of sunset. When the sun goes down, the sky begins to pour. It continues to pour until the sky is totally black. There is a golden tint to the boys and girls as they return to their fields. The grey-suited caretaker father whispers the children to return home. He opens the gate, allows youngster in, allowing additional folks entered in their house. What is the main theme of the poem A Day? A Day poem deals with this poem deals with the theme of birth and death. Here the rising sun symbolizes birth and sunset symbolizes death. As soon as the child is born, he or she grows up very fast, casually starts to understand various responsibilities, just like we eat veggie during the day. So we can say that the most important theme of the poem is the journey of life from birth to death. Death and immortality are the main theme that are truly discussed in the poem. अनि यो लिटरेरी डिभाइसहरू नि एकदम इम्पोर्टेन्ट हुन्छ यो चाहिँ सोधिहाल्न सक्छ लिटरेरी डिभाइसेसहरू चाहिँ के युज भयो भन्दाखेरि यो पोइममा एल्टरेसन म यसको मिनिङ भनिदिन्छु बस्ती चिन्ता गर्नु पर्दैन तर के युज भयो त सम्झिने सिम्बोललाई सिम्बोलिजम पनि भनिन्छ मेटाफोर अनि सिमिली अनि पर्सनलाइजेसन सम्झिने यो पहिला मेटाफोर सिमिली एल्टरेसन पर्सनलाइजेसन एल्टरेसन सिम्बल मेटाफोर सिमिली पर्सनलाइजेसन अब यसको बारेमा डिस्कस गर्ने हामी सिम्बोलिजम भनेको चाहिँ द पोइम एज अ होल रिप्रेजेन्ट्स द प्यासेज फ्रम लाइफ टु डेथ द पोइट इन्फेयर्स ह्युमन बिहेभियर कनेक्ट्स विथ लाइफ एन्ड द्याट विथ इच वर्ड यसले चाहिँ लाइफ एन्ड डेटसँग कनेक्ट गरेर राखेको इच वर्डलाई के भयो अरे सिम्बोलिजममा ह्युमन बिहेभियरलाई लाइफ एन्ड डेटसँग कनेक्ट गरे होइन मेटाफोरमा चाहिँ सी इम्पोज अ नम्बर अफ क्लियर एनालोजिस टु क्रिएट सिम्पेथेटिक इमेजेस सी रिपर्स सन रेज एज रिबन्स इन द फर्स्ट लाइन के भर्स लाइन 2 त्यो लाइन नसम्झे पनि मेटाफोरको केसँग के सम्झिनै पर्छ रिबन्सलाई सनरेज भनिरहेछ यसले फर्स्ट वर्ड्समै Entonces, she refers sunrays as yellow lands and girls in verse 4. फेरि सनरेजलाई नै yellow lands and girls भनेर रिप्लेस गरिरह यसलाई के भन्छ मेटाफोरै फेरि नभुल्ने इन डोमिनी इन ग्रेभले चाहिँ गडलाई रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्छ के गर्छ अरे डोमिनी इन ग्रेभ भनेको चाहिँ गडलाई रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्छ त्यसपछि रिलिजियस पर्सनलाई रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्छ वेल फ्लक एल्युज टु पिपल लास्टमा फ्लक अवे भन्ने वर्ड छ कि तिम्रो लास्ट स्ट्यान्जामा पुट जेन्टली अफ द इभिनिङ बार्स एन्ड लिड द फ्लक अवे भनेर लास्ट दुईवटा लाइन छैन त्यसको फ्लक भनेको चाहिँ मान्छे हो अनि त्यसको इभिनिङ बार भनेको चाहिँ कन्क्लुजन अफ लाइफ हो कि डेड भन्ने नि भयो कन्क्लुजन अफ लाइफ अनि त्यसपछि सिमिली चाहिँ यो पोइममा कता कता युज हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि इन वर्स 1 लाइन 4 न्युज ड्रन अफ स्प्रेड विथ पिस अफ स्क्वायर ड्रन इज एक्जाम्पल अफ स्पिन सिमिली फर्स्ट वर्सको लाइन 4 द न्युज लाइक स्क्वायर्स रन भनेको के हो भन्दाखेरि न्युज स्क्वायर कति छिटो भएको छ नि त त्यस्तै न्युज एकदम छिटो स्प्रेड हुन्छ भन्नु चाहिँ हो कि त्यही न्युज रन लाइक square run. News of drawn spreads with pace of square run is example of simile. News drawn spreads like pace of squares run is example of simile. अब पर्सनलाइजेसन चाहिँ तिमीले याद गर्यो भने एकदम धेरै ठाउँमा युज भयो पोइममा फर एक्जाम्पल अ डे एन्ड द पोएटिक technique is personalization. It occurs in verse 1, line 3. The steeples swam in amethyst. भनेको चाहिँ steeples like human. Swim in stanza 2, line 2. The bonix begin. Bonix like say heels like ladies remove their bonus भन्नुहुन्छ कि अब यसले कहाँ आफ्नो टाउकोमा ह्याट राखिरहेको हुन्छ त नि त्यसलाई चाहिँ अब मान्छेले ह्याट लगाएको छ नि पर्सनलाइज गरेर के फेस्टिभल्स लाइक ह्युमन्स अनि त्यो हिल्स रिमुभ बोनर्स भनेर चाहिँ अनि एल्टुरेसन चाहिँ स्ट्यान्जा 1मै लाइन 3मा विथ द रिपिट अफ एस साउन्ड यसको चाहिँ स्ट्यान्जा नै सम्झ्यौ है किन भन्दाखेरि यसमा एस साउन्ड रिपिट भनेको तिमीले त्यो सम्झिनुहोस् धेरै गाह्रो त नहोला नि एन्ड अल्सो अपियर्स इन सेकेन्ड स्ट्यान्जा लाइन 2 विथ prominent B sound. Stanza 1 was S sound, stanza 2 was B sound. And stanza by stanza explanation of poem. According to poets, he observes how sun rises in the first verse as well as changing condition that follow from sun rising. He compares the rays of sun with the ribbon at a time. He likes the beam of the sun to the ribbon and says the rays of sun are like the ribbon. The poet wrote ribbon when one speaks rise. However, it applies in this instant. In this case, the metaphor isn't used. She observed that the sunlight was scattered over the sky. She concluded the rays look like ribbon. The church spike on took a turn on deeper set of voice as a result of sunlight streaking it. All structures are often seen in churches and known as steeples. It had a color of amethyst and seemed to be named after it. A colored purple colored gemstone is extremely valuable. It is known as amethyst. The square run. It does not take long for the news to spread as the sun has risen. With the sunrise, the hills are rebuilt as they had removed their bones of songbird from the United States known as wobbling. The duo started singing their memory, whom they got dressed, and poets view the sun was behind all that had occurred. According to this, good feeling was brought by the sun, and in the end, the sun that has causes. Then, of course, there is the beauty of the nature. This beautiful image represents the concept of everything moves at breakneck speed when the sun rises, because we have to rush from the moment we get up. This symbolizes how fast-paced our life is. The wonder of rising sun is brought to the life by the sun, and this serves as a representation of starting of any point of anything. We don't know how she created scenery in the third stanza. At this point, there were many little allegories and girls standing towards the other side, dominating in grey. Her use of phrase, how the sun sets in the line, clarifies her no idea about the sun, says as the skies become lighter, instead of red, as the faces of children who are playing outside. When this happens, Domino moves in to gather up the children and takes them back to their houses. At sunset, the clouds in the western sky have an expectation of orange, yellow, and purple hues, and they seem to be in motion. The poet recalls how the children go up and down while they play. The children are taken away by Dominant at night at the domini, which the teacher is derived from dominus, is means lord in Latin. It is the darkness of the night that signifies the day, a, in the end of trigonometric sense. In some may take the color grey as meaning of lovely day has ended, and the poet does not know when the sun will set. I choose to see it as a symbol of end of day when the sun will set, because nobody knows what will happen after that. This is called great unknown. Surprise is the beginning of the life, and sunset is the end of life. They happen at the same time. This is the most significant part of the poem, and I'm sure you have learned something new. Conclusion of the poem. The poem starts with the speaker explaining how the sun rises and what happens after in a nice manner. The first and second lines of a poem depicts the speaker's delight at witnessing sleeper college tree and scholar after sunrise, bird, hills, and rising sun is there. She explains that the items in such a way that reflects the innocence of the child in terms of how he or she views the universe. She discusses the sun setting in the poem's third and fourth stanza. She said that she had no idea how it works. She is unable to provide explanation due to lack of information. This represents a immobility that comes to date. It also demonstrates how little people know about dying. Despite the speaker claims that the sky becomes purple when the sun goes down, and it is totally black when the light comes up. The youngster, according to the speaker, climbed up to the steeple ladder to crush it, and when they got to the other side, the structure put up to the nighttime bar and lead them away. Dickinson describes a wonderful day that brings children from innocence to experience in her poem A Day. Through her use of brilliant imaginary and metaphors, Emily Dickinson A Day is known as 19th century metaphysical poem, renowned for its double meaning and cerebral allusions. A day is a literal term that refers to sunrise and sunset. It describes in a figurative sense that the passes from life to day. Additionally, the poem has a child narrator whose innocent and certain tone evokes the spectacle of day. Specialities of A Day poem by Emily Dickinson. A Day poem by Emily Dickinson is written in lines of 2 words or less. She also utilized old art capitalization and punctuation as what we would call sand rhymes. She also used hyphens to let the readers have some pause or breaks so that they can ponder a context of it. All these tricks have her made this poem very interesting and for the readers. Glossary steeples भनेको चाहिँ टल टावर हो अब रुखको चर्चको रुखतिर आउने एमिस भनेको चाहिँ पर्पल प्रिसियस स्टोन हो यो चाहिँ ज्वेलरीहरूमा युज हुन्छ बोनस भनेको चाहिँ त्यो तल घाँटीमा त्यो बान्ने अनि त्यो ह्याट हुन्छ नि लाउने माथि त्यो हो के बोनिक्स भनेको चाहिँ लार्ज songbirds with large summer patterns एउटा टाइपको बर्ड हो स्कुल मास्टर भनेको अब टिचर नै भएन अब लास्ट अनि स्टिटल भनेको सेट अफ स्टेप्स द्याट पिपुल help people to climb over a fence or wall, especially in the village. Author of the poem is one of the most eminent American poets from the 19th century. Her poetry has heavily influenced over the metaphysical poets of 17th century England, as well as her reading in the books of Revelation and her upbringing in New England town. about two-thirds of her life was spent alone, so she has spent a lot of time alone. Her social circle was also limited. She seldom left her room. While Dickinson was extremely profligate as poet, her regular correspondence later, though friends were not publicly recognized during the life.